let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into a concept that feels genuinely transformative for AI.
Mm,
It's called collective AI, and we're exploring it specifically through the lens of something known as the CAFA framework.
that's right. And our main source material here, it comes from lecture notes and papers by Jaehwa Choi, that's Oye. He's an associate professor at George Washington University.
And the inventor of the CAFA platform itself, yeah.
Exactly. And his work, it really frames this not just as, another AI tech. It's positioned as a fundamental digital transformation of intelligence. Pretty bold stuff.
It really is. And just quickly, before we get too far in, that name, CAFA, how are we saying that?
Good point. It's pronounced eskefer. So like kappa in English.
Rapa, okay. Or Kappa in Korean. Got it. CAFA.
Right, so CAFA. And our mission today really is to get our heads around what collective AI actually means in this specific context.
And explore these different dimensions because the source suggests it's not just one thing.
Exactly. It's surprisingly layered, this collective idea within the framework.
So let's start big picture. The source material says CAFA isn't just like a single technology or model.
No, definitely not. It's laid out as a whole ecosystem, a really comprehensive environment.
Okay, like what? What's in this ecosystem?
Well, Professor Choi's notes list several components. There's the intellectual framework itself, which we'll focus on. Then there's a technical platform, a community of users and developers, a broader movement pushing the vision forward, and even a tokenomic structure mentioned.
Right. And for today, that framework sounds like the core concept, the intellectual engine driving this.
It really is. The CAFA framework provides the, let's say, theoretical models, the principles. It dictates how AI is conceptualized here, how it's built, how it's applied within this whole paradigm.
It's the why and the how behind it all.
Exactly. The thinking behind this collective intelligence approach.
Okay, so drilling down then, within this framework, collective AI is clearly central. What's the big ambition? What are they trying to achieve with it?
Well, the goal described is pretty ambitious. It's about building AI systems that aren't just, incrementally smarter. They're aiming for something more sophisticated, much more adaptable.
And human aligned, that seems key.
Very key. Fundamentally human aligned and also deeply contextually aware. The idea is really to get past the limitations you hit when you rely only on single monolithic AI models.
Okay. So instead of having one massive AI trying to juggle everything,
Right.
you're trying to foster synergy, almost like how intelligence works in, say, an ant colony or even a human team.
That's precisely the inspiration mentioned, drawing from principles of collective intelligence we see in nature and human groups. The core idea is achieving synergy, but not just in one way. It happens at multiple levels.
Okay.
And the main driver for this is having multiple specialized AI agents. Think of them as distinct AI units, each built for a specific purpose. They call them CAFA agents.
CAFA agents, and
Yeah.
they collaborate.
They collaborate, yes. But crucially, they collaborate on top of a specific kind of foundation, something called foundation AI.
Okay, foundation AI. The sources seem to emphasize that this part is really important and maybe different from what people might assume.
It's a critical distinction they make, yeah.
Yeah.
The notes are very clear. Foundation AI within CAFA is not just a standalone large language model. It's not just like taking GPT-4 or something similar off the shelf.
Okay, so if it's not simply a big LLM, what is it? What's it built from?
It's presented as this deeply integrated, robust combination. On one
Yeah.
hand, you have machine learning-based multimodal LLMs, so models that can handle text, images, sound, that kind of thing.
Right, the sort of AI we hear a lot about.
Exactly. But this is the key. These are combined with symbolic or rule-based AI systems.
So you're bringing in the other side of AI, the part that's good at structured reasoning, logic, explicit knowledge.
Precisely that. And this hybrid nature, this combination, is highlighted as absolutely fundamental. It's what provides the necessary base, the stable ground for all these complex collaborations that define collective AI in CAFA. You need that solid, versatile foundation.
Okay, this collective idea having multiple layers, the source breaks it down into 4 dimensions, right? This is where it starts to get really interesting.
It is. It's definitely not a simple, flat concept. It's a multi-layered strategy.
So let's take the first one, dimension 1, collaboration between agents, inter-agent collaboration. This feels like the most obvious kind of collective.
It's probably the most visible, yeah. This is where you have distinct CAFA agents, each one purpose-built, dynamically working together.
How does that work in practice?
They share information, they coordinate what they're doing, they essentially combine their unique skills to tackle complex goals that might be, intractable for any single agent trying to do it all.
Is there an example in the material?
Yeah, they use a research project example. Imagine you do some complex research analysis.
Okay.
You could have one CAFA agent that's just focused on data collection from various online sources.
Mm-hmm.
Another agent specialized in natural language processing to understand all the text.
Hmm.
Maybe a third agent whose job is ontology mapping, structuring the findings into a formal knowledge base. Then another for statistical analysis if there's numerical data. And finally, maybe a report generation agent that pulls it all together.
So like a digital research team, each member with a specific skill.
Exactly. They collaborate, maybe passing work along, maybe working in parallel to achieve the final research outcome. The power comes from pooling their specialized expertise.
And the source mentioned something called the Agent Planet, or Stella Framework, to help manage this.
Yes, that's described as the potential architectural underpinning. Think of it as the infrastructure that lets agents find each other, communicate effectively, negotiate tasks, and manage their collaborative work.
Okay.
The implications are pretty significant, potentially much better problem solving, more resilient systems because you don't have a single point of failure, and the ability to tackle really complex, multifaceted challenges.
That makes a lot of sense, agents working together like that. But then dimension 2, you said collaboration happens even inside a single agent, intra-agent collaboration. How?
Right, this is a finer level. It operates within the boundary of one CAFA agent. So instead of that agent just running on one big AI model, it might be designed with multiple internal parts, or it manages a sequence of interactions, like turns in a conversation or steps in a process.
And for each step or each turn, that single agent might actually use a different AI model internally? Is that the idea?
That's exactly it. There's a feature mentioned in the source material called flexible model selection. This lets the people building these agents, the agent makers, be strategic.
How so?
They can assign specific AI models, maybe different LLMs, maybe smaller specialized algorithms, to handle particular tasks or specific moments within that single agent's workflow.
Can you give an example? It sounds a bit abstract.
Sure. Think about, say, a sophisticated personalized tutoring agent.
Okay, like for learning.
Yeah. To start a Socratic discussion, asking open-ended questions, it might use a particular LLM known for that style. Then, when the student replies, maybe with slightly messy language, it could switch to a different, maybe smaller model that's really good at summarizing and extracting the core meaning.
Ah, okay.
Then, to check if the student's answer is factually correct against a specific curriculum, it might call on an internal symbolic system connected to a knowledge base.
Right, for accuracy.
And maybe yet another lightweight model handles just the conversational flow, the okay, let's move on type stuff. All these different models are collaborating inside that one tutoring agent.
Wow. Okay, so that allows for really fine-tuned interactions, and presumably it's more efficient, using the best tool for each tiny job.
That's the idea. Highly tailored performance and potentially much better resource use than just throwing one giant model at every single part of the interaction. Overall, it enhances that single agent's capability.
That's really quite clever. Okay, dimension 3, collaboration between AI paradigms. This sounds like it connects back to that hybrid foundation AI we discussed.
It absolutely does. This dimension is all about the collaboration happening right down at the foundational level. It's the fusion of different, often historically separate ways of building AI.
So machine learning meeting symbolic AI, basically. The LLMs meeting the rule-based systems.
That's the core of the foundation model layer in CAFA, as described. It's explicitly designed to integrate the strengths of both. You get the adaptive learning, the pattern recognition from multimodal LLMs.
The stuff that's good with messy real-world data?
Right. And you combine that with the precision, the logical rigor, the structured reasoning, and often the explainability that comes with symbolic and rule-based AI.
What's the real advantage? Why bring these two worlds together so deliberately at the foundation?
Well, think about a task that needs both nuanced understanding and strict adherence to facts or rules. An LLM might be great at understanding a user's complex, maybe slightly ambiguous, question in natural language. But then that understanding can be fed to the symbolic component. That component, maybe using a formal knowledge graph or ontology, can perform logical checks, pull out precise, verifiable facts, and construct an answer that's not just relevant, but provably correct according to the rules.
So you get the best of both worlds. The LLM's flexibility with the symbolic AI's reliability and transparency.
That's exactly the goal. It directly addresses the known weaknesses of each approach on its own. LLMs can sometimes hallucinate or struggle with complex logic. Symbolic systems can be brittle, struggling with ambiguity, or learning from new data easily.
Right.
Combining them through this foundational collaboration is positioned as crucial for building AI that's both incredibly capable and trustworthy, especially, in areas where mistakes are costly, like medicine or finance.
Which leads us neatly into Dimension 4, and this one feels really distinct, very specific to CAFA perhaps. Human-machine collaboration. It's described as cognitive alignment via ontology. This sounds like more than just humans checking the AI's work.
It's definitely presented as something deeper, yeah. A critical defining dimension. It's about fostering a deep, ongoing symbiotic partnership between human intelligence and the AI's capabilities.
And the mechanism for this is ontology.
The ontology model layer is central here, yes.
Yeah.
Ontologies in this context are formal representations of knowledge. They define concepts, the relationships between them, the rules, the logic within a specific domain.
Like a detailed map of knowledge for a subject.
Sophisticated structured map, exactly. And the crucial part, emphasized in the source, is that these ontologies are typically created, curated, validated, and continuously monitored by human domain experts.
So doctors shaping a medical ontology, engineers for technical systems, lawyers for legal domains, the people who actually know the field inside out.
Precisely. The philosophy seems to be that the AI's understanding, its generation, its reasoning, it should ideally be centered around or at least strongly informed by this human-shaped ontology model.
So the collaboration is the humans building and refining these knowledge structures, and that actively guides the AI.
That's the core mechanism described. By meticulously building and maintaining these ontologies, humans are directly shaping the AI's cognitive landscape. They provide the framework for its understanding, define the valid relationships it should use, constrain its reasoning to align with established knowledge, and ultimately help ensure its behavior and outputs align with human values and ethics.
So back to the medical example, the ontology built by doctors ensures the AI uses the right terms, understands disease relationships correctly, follows established treatment guidelines.
Exactly. It makes the AI's processes more transparent because they're grounded in this explicit structure. The outputs become more explainable. The behavior is more aligned with how human experts think and reason in that domain.
It sounds like a real partnership.
It's framed that way, a true ongoing partnership where human expertise isn't just a one-off input at the start, but is continuously needed for refinement and validation. And this is where the source highlights the role of the CAFA community, the agent makers, the domain experts. They're indispensable to this process.
Okay, so if we step back and look at all four dimensions, collective AI in the CAFA framework is really not one simple thing at all.
No, it's a genuinely sophisticated, multi-layered strategy. You've got collaboration between diverse, specialized agents.
Right.
You've got optimization within agents using different models strategically. You've got the fusion of AI paradigms at the foundation, the hybrid model. And wrapping around it all, you have this critical, ongoing collaboration with human intelligence, channeled through structured knowledge like ontologies.
It's like weaving all these different kinds of teamwork together.
Pretty much. And the overall goal, as described, is to create an AI ecosystem that's not just incrementally better, but fundamentally more powerful, more resilient, adaptable, explainable, trustworthy.
And ultimately more beneficial.
That's the aim, because the intelligence emerges from this organized, multi-level interaction guided by human insight.
You know, unpacking collective AI through these four dimensions really paints a picture of the depth here. It's not just about plugging different AI tools together. It feels like a fundamental rethink of how you even build intelligence, putting collaboration, structured, multi-level collaboration right at the heart of it.
It certainly shifts the perspective. Less about a single monolithic brain and more about the dynamic, organized interplay of specialized parts, both machine and human.
So here's a thought to leave you with. If you have these multiple layers of collaboration working together, agents with agents, models within agents, AI types at the foundation, and humans guiding the knowledge, how might that change the kinds of problems we can even dare to tackle with AI? Problems that seemed way too complex before. And maybe, just maybe, does it start to shift our own definition of what intelligence really means? Something to think about.